Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Elektra from the Spooter wave of Marvel Legends. And I have to tell you, this is a pretty solid figure overall. Unfortunately, I can't find my old Elektra figure. I know I had the original one, which I wasn't going to even compare this to, and I know I had the 2-pack one, and I can't find either of them, so I don't know, maybe I put them in the wrong place or something when I moved. But either way, this one's better than both of those. I can tell you that. Overall, it's much better, so don't worry about the comparison. If you want Elektra, this is the one you're going to be considering. And so we're going to talk about the good and the bad and everything in between. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands just about 6¼ inches, which makes it just about 16 centimeters. So the height's pretty much okay for Marvel Legends. Obviously, we know they're not quite 1/12 scale. They're a little bigger, so that's fine. And the overall aesthetic of this figure is really nice. Much like Psylocke, it almost completely comes down to paintwork. Everything on her arms and legs is just painted. And luckily for Elektra, those lines are mostly pretty clean. It's still not great, but they did a good enough job. You can see here on the wrist, obviously they could have done a lot better. I think it would have been nice if they kind of just lined their wraps with black so that didn't just look like a red thing with spots in it. Unless that's how they're drawing her now, but I don't think so. But either way, it looks pretty darn good. The boots definitely could have been a little bit cleaner, but overall it's okay. As far as consistency goes, the torso is a little bit darker red than everything else. This part right here. It's not super noticeable unless you're under these harsh lights, or at least I didn't notice it until just now, so maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it's worth mentioning. The thing that really stands out for this figure, and it's a really, really good thing, that face is great. I love it. I love the paintwork. I love the sculpt work. They did a little bit of extra work on the lips. It's just overall very nicely done. The hair is sculpted well enough too. The little tassel thingy back here, it's not posable unfortunately, but it is a separate piece, so that's good. Overall, it's just a really nice sculpt. And the way they did the hair, they have the thinner pieces up front, so you can still pose the figure no problem at all, and it still looks pretty natural, and that's a really good thing. We do have a little bit of lollipop syndrome. We'll get to that later, but it's not too bad. As far as accessories go, we do have her 2 sighs, which are done very nicely. I love that they added the little wrap around the handle part there. Very nicely painted, nicely sculpted, a little bit warped from the packaging, but hot water or a hairdryer will fix that. She can hold them pretty well, not great, but well enough. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention about this figure before we talk about the articulation, and that is the lack of hips. I don't know what it is, but Hasbro apparently decided that none of the female figures should have any hips at all anymore. And so what we end up with is incredibly, oddly skinny legs. We have really skinny legs and no hips to speak of, and it makes them look a little bit weird. She's kind of busty. She's got some boobages going, which is fine. I mean, almost every female in the comic book world has hips and boobages. And for some reason, Hasbro just will not do the hips anymore. So the point isn't that I want my figures to look sexy. The point is that they look kind of anatomically weird when their hips are very narrow and they have broad shoulders. For women, that's generally not how they're built, especially comic book women. So it would be nice if we could get some more meat on their bones, shall we say, on the lower half. It's not a total deal breaker here because she does have the skirt thing that hides it, but it also kind of accentuates it. So it depends how you're going to have her posed. Alright, okay, so as far as the head goes, we have our standard ball peg and hinge. Looking up, it's a little bit limited just because that's where all the hair is back here, so it's going to push it back. Looking down is obviously not going to be an issue. She can do that, no problem. And then I already showed you side to side. There is a little bit of extra play in here because it is kind of a lollipop, but you really don't have an opportunity to see it. So I guess it's okay. It's fine. It sits properly on the body, so I like that. Overall, it's pretty good. Full rotation for the shoulders. If you tuck them in, you can get them up horizontal. Shoulders are a little bit bulky, but it wouldn't be a problem if she had some bulk anywhere else. So that's okay, I guess. Single jointed elbow, which is about 90 degrees. That's where you get your bicep swivel, which is still not great, but it's what we're used to and it'll do. Wrist swivel and a hinge. We have a standard gripping hand here. And then we have our special gripping hand over here, which works pretty nicely. Good sculpt work on that. The diaphragm joint works particularly well. Really nicely done. Leans back, leans forward, side to side. Full rotation. Really no problem at all. Love that. Very, very nice. Floating skirt piece is okay. It's fine. It's 100% completely straight up and down, which is generally a good thing. It would have been nice if it had like overall uniformity up and down like it is, but not like a drape. It looks a little bit weird. It probably should have been just kind of like cut in, like it's being hit or leaning up against the legs, not hit by the legs, but it just looks a little weird to hang in front of her like a curtain rather than to be flowing with the body. So it'd be nice if it ended up overall in the center of the figure, but just a little bit more realistic sculpting. On the back, it's not so big of a deal because there's nothing there but butt to hold it out there. Bringing the hips out to the side, very limited, probably less than Spider-Man. It's only about 45 degrees. Going forward is really not a problem. You get good range there. You get decent range going back. You get your thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and really nice ankle range going all the way back. If you force it a little bit, nope, it doesn't want to go forward. So pretty limited going forward. That's kind of a bummer. And then your ankle rocker is almost perfect. So it's really good. So overall, it's a solid figure. There's a couple tiny issues with the design of it in terms of articulation and the narrow hips, but otherwise, it's really, really nice. I think it's going to be the Elektra figure to get. It's the one you want to get. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up almost every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you click that bell. Make sure you click the subscribe button if you haven't. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.